We've got Ali Abunimah with us now, co-founder of Electronic Intifada, which is an independent news website, and he's in Amman for us. Thanks for your time. I mean, it's good, I guess, from your perspective, that Amnesty is drawing attention to this. Do you think people are going to take notice and that it will be something they would actually think about when they're booking a holiday?
Well, there's no doubt that people will take notice. The companies are taking notice. Airbnb has, as mentioned in the report, already said it will pull listings from parts of the West Bank, not yet occupied East Jerusalem. But that's a result of grassroots pressure. It's a result of the message coming to these companies from human rights groups and others that they're involving themselves in criminal activities, really promoting and aiding and profiting from the settlements is no different than walking into a store, robbing it at gunpoint, and then going out into the street and selling the stolen goods for your own profits. But we're talking about something much more consequential than goods stolen from a store. We're talking about people's land, their lives, their history, their heritage that Israel is violently stealing from them. And particularly so in Jerusalem. This is not just hotels and Airbnb rentals, but sites like Tripadvisor also promote Israel's so-called archaeological sites, which are being built in occupied East Jerusalem, for example, in and around the village of Silwan, where Israel is systematically destroying the homes of Palestinians in order to expel them, to build these bogus archaeological sites that then are advertised on Tripadvisor. So these companies named by Amnesty are directly aiding and abetting the destruction of Palestinian homes and the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians from East Jerusalem and from other parts of the occupied West Bank, and they must be accountable for it.
And who will hold them accountable? There can be, if people want to, they can take action themselves and just not book on these websites or not go to these destinations. Other than that, where can the accountability come from?
One way, but remember, as I mentioned already, the fact that Airbnb has taken notice at all is because of the grassroots campaigning by Palestinians, by human rights groups, by activists, and that has to continue. And let's take another example, the site Booking.com. There is a campaign around that in the Netherlands, where Booking.com is based. But there's also, these companies are responsible and should be held legally liable, but it's also governments. The Dutch government that opposes the occupation, but is doing nothing to enforce international law, require its companies like Booking.com to respect it. So the Dutch government as well as the US government, these companies are based, also are liable and must be accountable to their citizens and to international law to stop Dutch firms and other European and American firms from aiding, abetting, and profiting from Israeli crimes, which they claim on paper to oppose. The question that people need to ask these governments is, why do you sit back and do nothing while these firms help Israel to demolish and destroy Palestinian homes, villages, land and livelihoods?
Can anything be gained from pushing the Israeli government? I only say it in that way because obviously they believe their right is to be there, and Benjamin Netanyahu says, with the settlements, they're here to stay.
Well, you know, to use my example, if someone goes into a store at gunpoint and robs it, you don't go and ask them if they think that's a good idea or the right thing to do. You take them to the law. And Israel, as a rogue state, as an occupier, as it is under international law, as a perpetrator of war crimes, as the settlements are, needs to be held accountable. And if governments and the UN are failing to do their jobs, then we need to see a much bigger, growing grassroots response, as we have seen with Airbnb, and we need to see with these other companies, and ultimately boycott, divestment, and sanctions to hold Israel as an occupier accountable, just as apartheid South Africa was held accountable by the world community a generation ago. Israel is doing this. Israel is doing it because they can get away with it, because it's profitable. Once it's no longer profitable, and once there's a price, Israel will stop.
Ali Abunimah from Electronic Intifada in Amman. Thank you for your time.